Hello everyone and welcome to my networking Capstone video for my Capstone project. So in this video I will be going over through my project goals and my network diagram. So let's start with our network diagram. On the right hand side I have my network diagram which shows I have two buildings on the left side and one building on the right side, which has two firewalls at the end, and both firewalls are connected with the side-to-side VPN connection. I have one outside network here which has one backup server which will be making backups of the shared drive inside my company network, and there's a VPN user which will try to connect from outside network into the company network with the AD password and the one-time password from the authenticator app. So now let's talk about our project goals, which are, first of all, there is a firewall, there is a VPN, there is a remote users authenticated by the AD server and the two-factor authentication Google Authenticator. There will be the AD server which will has a domain controller. For in this case, I have used xyz.com as a company domain. With users will have proper credentials, permissions, and group policies. There's a backup server which is on the outside network. We have remote desktop connection in which IT people can look into the employee PC to fix the issue or to install any configuration. We have the Exchange server or the mail server, but in this case I'm using Edge mail server, which will help in making employees email IDs through which they can talk to the other employees or send important documents and so many things. There's a file server in which this will be inside the company network, so any employees can put their crucial files, documents. IT admins can put ISO file installer in the file server. So now I will show you my virtual box, and this all project is done in my virtual box. Let's start with our firewall VPN configuration. You can see I have two firewalls running, and I will show you the network configuration which is here. For the firewall 1, I have adapter 1 with the internal network, and which indicates the network 1, which is here on the left hand side. There is a adapter 2, a bridge adapter, which will help in connecting to the internet. Similar configuration you can find it on firewall 2, but this one has adapter 1 with the network 2, which indicates the building 2. Same bridge adapter. I have AD server which is on the building 1. If we go to the network, we can say it's the network 1. We have ITPC which is also on the building 1. If we go to the network settings, we can say it's on network 1 and internal network. Software PC are on the building 2, so it has network 2 here with internal network. Now we have offsite backup and VPN user. Right now I have turned them off due to the low configuration of my laptop, but at the as we proceed I will show you how they are working. So this both has bridge adapter, only one adapter enabled. For the VPN user is the same thing, it's a bridge adapter. So this is all my configuration, and I will now start showing you my goals one by one. Okay, so let's start with our first thing, which is a side-to-side VPN connection. For that I have my firewall 1 and 2 running, up and running. On the left hand side you can see I have two firewalls with the command line, but it's hard to configure like this. So there's other way. You can just type in the LAN IP of firewall 1 and firewall 2 in your web browser, and now then you can access the graphical interface. So on the left hand side I have firewall 1 graphical interface, on the right hand side I have firewall 2 graphical interface. So if you see the interfaces with the IP assigned, you can see the LAN IP is 192.168.1.1 with the WAN IP is 2.48, which is assigned automatically by TSCP. And on the right hand side, if you see the interfaces, the LAN IP for the firewall 2 is 192.168.3.1 with the WAN IP of 2.47, which is same automatically assigned by the DSCP. If we come back to the left side, I can see there's a peer-to-peer server statistics which shows I've been connected to the remote IP, which is 2.47, and it's using a tunnel IP which is 192.168.0.1. Similarly, on the right hand side I can see my VPN 2 or firewall 2 is being connected to the firewall 1 with the remote IP which is connected here is 2.48, and the tunnel IP of firewall 2 0.2. So this is a configuration how they are connected with each by the interfaces. Now I will show you how actually I configure them. So for that I will go into the firewall 1 VPN open VPN servers. It's asking for the password. So here I have two servers which I have been created. One is for site-to-site VPN connection and one is for my remote VPN. So I will show you the site-to-site VPN. You can see I have named the server as VPN1. I'm using a peer-to-peer shared key with protocol UDP, interface WAN, local port 1194, and here is the share key which is generated by this firewall itself, and I will paste this key on the firewall 2 which will enable the connection. I have used this algorithm here, SSH 512 and AES 256 CBC. Now as here is asking for the tunnel network. If we look into our diagram, which is tunnel network is 192.168.0.0/24. I write it here with the IPv4 local network, which is 192.168.1.0/24. If you look into the diagram, which will be this one, the thing you can see here is my 1.0 network. Same thing now is asking for the remote network, which is 3.0. Similarly, the network, this is 3.0 network. Now I have saved the configuration here. Now similar thing, but on the firewall 2 I have configured this firewall 2 as the client of firewall 1. So it will have the same configuration like firewall 1, VPN 2, just the name different, VPN 2, peer-to-peer, UDP, WAN. Here is asking for the remote server. The server WAN address. So it is 2.48 for firewall 1. So we have type it here and asking for the port, which is 1194. Now if we go at the bottom, you can see that it is asking for the shared key, which will be this one. We have copied this key into this side. We have kept the algorithm same, tunnel network same, remote network in this case it will be this one from where we have to connect our firewall 2. I have saved the configuration. So this is all for the configuration of firewalls. Now if I try to ping each PCs, so on the left hand side I have PC from the building 1 and this is PC from building 2. If I open command prompt, if I type ping 3.10, you see it's pinging perfectly. If I from PC from building 2, if I type 1.20, which is the PC of in building 1, it's pinging good. Now if we trace the route, how it's going. You can do like trace rt/d non-net is to 168.1.20. You can see here it's first going to the firewall 2, from there it's traveling through the tunnel network, then finally it's pinging from there. Similar thing here, if you want to see, we have to trace route the same thing here too. Yeah, so here it's going through the firewall 1 with the tunnel IP0.2, then finally it's pinging from there. So this was my side to side VPN connection. Okay, now we will talk about our remote VPN user. So you can see on my right hand side I have a VPN client running, and to configure the VPN I had to configure firewall 1 with one extra server for the remote VPN user. So if I show you the configuration here, it's little same with the previous one, the side to side VPN. So here I have named the SSL VPN server as a description, server mode, remote access plus user authentication. So it will use the password, the one-time base password, and authenticate with the AD server. At the down you can see it says backend for authentication. I chose a remote LDAP, which means it will be authenticated by the AD server, which has user 3 in that. I have chosen the protocol UDP interface WAN, and I open the port 1195. It has a share key, and there are some certificates you see here which I have created for the user. User will have to install them in the this PC. Then he can able to access the network of XYZ. You see the algorithm as HA512 with the other encryption algorithm AES256 EBC, certificate depth 1 client plus server. Now here is asking for the tunnel network. For this case we are using the tunnel network 20.0/24, which is for the outside network. So if anyone in the outside network have to travel through this tunnel, and then they can come into this network. Similarly, I have put the 20.04 in here. Now it's asking for the local network. Local network is where the remote VPN user wants to be connected. So it will be this network here. So I have put the 1.0 network. Okay, now I have mentioned the domain name as xyz.com, which is our AD server domain, and the company domain with the DNS server 1.10, which is IP address of AD server. I have saved the configuration. Now if we come back to our VPN client, so I'm using the viscosity through which it will be connected into the XYZ network. So I have started the viscosity here, SSL VPN server network. So it's asking for the username, which is user3, and he's asking for the password. So for the password, I have to use a Google Authenticator, which is generating 30 seconds code. So I will type first code here, then my password. We'll just wait here, and it will say connected. Okay, so now we are connected. Now if we jump back to the command prompt, and if we try to ping, oh, I have to type it right, xyz.com. Yeah, we are pinging good. If I try to ping by the IP address, yeah, we're getting replies from the XYZ AD server. This was how remote VPN works. And if you go into the configuration here, settings, so here you can see it is connected to the XYZ AD domain. So this is for our remote VPN. Now we'll see our mail server between building 1, building 2 and remote user. So for that I'm using Edge mail server, which is super easy to set up and it just runs on very low configuration. Before I was thinking to use Exchange server, but it requires a lot of configuration. So now I have opened the HTML server in my AD server. So for the domain, I have joined my xyz.com domain in the domain name. For the account, I have configured 3 accounts here, which was very simple. I just add the AD account here, I select my domain name, and all my users which I created showed up here. So like suppose if I choose this one, he will be added quickly. For the protocol I used SMTP and IMAP. Then for the SMTP I just mentioned the local host name as xyz.com. Now for the IP ranges, I decided that this mail server will only allow the IP from 192.168.1.1 to 192.168.30.25 So IP other than this will be automatically rejected. There are other configuration you can do, like if somebody tries to log into the mail with the username and password and he put the password 3 times wrong, so he will be banned. He cannot join and he has to ask the administrator to unlock the account. There are antivirus, anti-spam settings you can enable to spam filtering, and there's one more thing you need to have it to run this HTML server is your ports open. So I will show you quickly here. So like here I have configured inbound roles. So I have opened the 25 and 143 ports, which will be used for SMTP and IMAP to send or receive the mails. If the ports are closed, you will not have your mail server working. Now that's for the configuration of HTML server. Now we'll see it running. So I have fired up my 3 PCs from different locations. The left hand side PC is building 1, the right hand side PC is building 2, and the third one down is our remote, which is outside the building. So now we will talk to the building 2 from building 1. We will write the message, and the building 2 username is user 2. So we'll write message to user 2. Hi from building 1. If I click send, so yeah, my building 2 PC just got the message from building 1. Hey, I'm from building 1. Now we'll do the same here. I will write message to building 1 user 1. Hi. Okay, so building 1 and building 2 can easily connect and contact with each other. Now we'll see if our remote VPN user works or no. So first we'll write our message from remote user to building 2. Okay. So write user 2 hello remote user. So yeah, our building 2 get the message from remote 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 user. Now I will type our message from building 1 to remote user. So for that I will write it user3 at xyz.com, subject same hello from building 1. Okay, I typed it in, I click the send. So yeah, our VPN user, which is sitting outside the building and is connected in our domain, got the message from building 1. Make sure to have this working, make sure your VPN needs to be connected. If it's disconnected, it will not work for the VPN user. But for the building people, if they are on the network, the message or the mail should work. So that's it for my mail server. Okay, now I will show you my AD server. So here is my server manager up and running here. If I go into the local server tab, you can see my computer name is an AD. Domain name is xyz.com. The firewall is on and my IPv4 address is 1.10. And for the tools, I go to users and computer. I can see I have there's a XYZ corporation organizational unit which I have created beforehand, and I have created 3 users inside that, which is user 1 for build, user 2 and user 3. So yeah, anyone can log in with this users from anywhere inside the network or inside the company or maybe outside from the network or as a remote VPN. So like here you can see I have logged in as user 1 in my building 1. In building 2 I have logged in as user 2. Your info, yeah, user 2. And for the remote VPN I have logged in as user 3. Okay, so to log in as the AD, you need to be connected with the domain. So right now my remote VPN is also is connected with the domain. Similarly, if I show you my building 2 PC, which is also connected with the domain. Similarly, my building 1, which is also connected with the domain. Now that's for the AD server, and also I have created one file server where any employee can put their files in the network, or any remote VPN user can put their file in there. So I have configured, sorry for the delay because it's running so many machines, so it just don't working as expected. So right now if you see in the file and storage devices, shares, yeah. Okay, on the shares you can see I have created one XYZ corporation doc which will be accessed by anyone inside the network. Okay, so I will show you right here quickly. So to access it, you have to type in the address. If you type your address, you will see it right here. Similarly, I have it open on building 2. Similarly, on the building 3. If I create one text document, it will be quickly synced with other PCs. And if a remote VPN or remote users try to create something, bitmap image, so yeah, it will also be synced very quickly. So that's it for my working AD server and my file server. Now it's time to show the remote desktop connection, which will be used by the IT desktop support people or IT admin people to look into the employee's PC having issues with their laptop or PCs. So just IT needs just need to know the IP address, and they will have their administrator password through which they can log in and configure the PCs. There's other alternative like AnyTask and TeamViewer, which can be also used. Okay, so let's start. So on the left hand side, I have logged in on ITPC with the administrator account. Mm. So yeah, this is my administrator account. I can show you settings. Yeah, so I'm right now administrator, which I have full privileges to do anything. I will quickly open remote, desktop connection, and IP for this building is 3.10. Let's quickly write it. 192.168.3 dot and 10. Okay, asking for the administrator password, which is okay. So yeah, I'm now into the building 2 PC just with the IP address and the administrator password. It will take time to load as I know it's slow, very slow due to so many machines running. Okay, that's it for the building 2. And for the remote users, first thing we need to know the IP address, because the remote VPN users will be assigned IP address dynamically by DSCP. So we have to ask the employees to send their IP address by ipconfig. So I will ask them to send their SSL VPN server IP address, which is 20.6. If I know that, I can quickly get into the remote VPN PC. So now let's do the same thing, remote desktop connection. Now we'll type 20.6. Okay, same thing, asking for the password. Okay, yes, yes. So yeah, you see how VPN users can also be diagnosed by the IT admin sitting very far and without the team viewer and any task. It's taking time to load. Just let's wait. Uh, so for the 20.6, if we go into our image, so I have configured the 20.0 tunnel. So it is not necessary that always page it will be 20.6. So it can be 20.10, 20.30, 20.50, but it will be 20.network. So for that, right now, yeah, I'm on 20.6. If I go to settings, mm, I think I'll show you with the IP address. That will be easy. Yeah, as you can see, it's 20.6 here. Okay, so for the remote VPN user, we need to know the IP address. With the IP address, we can quickly get into his or her PC and quickly fix the things. That's it for the remote desktop connection. Okay, now we'll talk about our backup server. So for the backup server, I have one machine running, which is outside the building, which is not inside the building, somewhere outside. And this on the left side of the machine I have is AD server, which is inside the company network, and it has one software installed which is called Sync Tracer. The similar thing will be is installed in the backup server. So I have set the software to do the backups of xyz document because which is originally shared inside the network. And if I open the folder in both of them, so left hand side is the network inside the company network, and right hand side is the backup which is outside the building. And if I type the new folder remote backup, so my backup will quickly scan it, and yeah, just made the backup. So here there's a catch. This thing is configured to do the 1 second scan, which is not real. In your company you will not be scanning folders every 1 second. So it will be set by like 3 days, 4 days, or 1 week by the admins as per the requirement. And here if you see the AD server is made to do the folder type only send. So this can send the files which are made new, and this can only receive it. So this cannot just make any folder and it can be received by the AD server. Then if somebody wants to recover their files, they need to contact the IT admins. They can just go into the offset backup and put it back in the AD server or the shared drive. So now let's get back to our project goals and let's see what we have finished here. We did the firewall, and I'm just using the Windows pre-built firewall there, and I didn't block any ports. So I was thinking to block the port 80 HTTP here. Sorry, I write it HTTPS. And some social media sites, the OpenSense firewall. But I just used the pre-installed configuration for the firewalls. VPN, we did the VPN side to side VPN connection. We did the remote users, remote VPN with the authenticator. We did the Active Directory with the domain controller. We have the users created with permissions and group policies. We have backup server created. We have remote desktop connection, like how IT can get into the employee space to fix the issues. We have Exchange server or mail server. Like I said, I used HMail server instead of Exchange server. Yeah, there was one thing here which I was not able to do, which is this part here. And there's a file server. We did the file server, but I was not able to implement the quotas here. And if you see our network here, I was thinking to do behind the firewall 2 or in building 2, there will be 2 networks up and running, but I was only able to configure only one network, which was 3.0 network. But when I was trying to configure 4.0, I was having the network issues with that, and I thought of doing by making new machines. But yeah, due to the limitation of my PC, I wasn't able to do this part here. So yeah, that's it for my project video. Thank you for watching.